Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to dive into a source called Architects of Deception, and let me tell you, it's a worldview that pretty much challenges everything we think we know about history.
Right out of the gate, this book, Architects of Deception, comes out swinging. It starts by challenging the very foundations of history as we know it, and it sets a pretty provocative stage with claims just like this one.
So, that leads to this huge question, right? What if the history we've been taught is just a deliberate fabrication? This is the core idea of the book. It's arguing that major historical events, even big scientific theories, aren't just misunderstood. They're part of some grand, orchestrated deception.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at how the book challenges official history. Then, we'll get into who it calls the hidden hand. After that, the so-called New World Order. And finally, we'll wrap up with how all this supposedly creates a world built on lies.
Okay, first up, challenging official history. This is where the source really launches its assaults on the stories most of us just take for granted. Everything from science to, well, religion.
So the book takes a direct shot at established science. You've got Darwin's theory of evolution on one side, which we all know, but on the other, the book claims it's all a fraud. A fraud, it says, promoted by Freemasons as a weapon to spread atheism. It even calls Darwin himself just an errand boy for the Masonic elite. Wild stuff?
And to back this up, the author pulls in a quote from astrophysicist Sir Fred Hoyle. The argument is basically this: look at how complex life is, things like enzymes. There's just no way, they argue, that this could have happened by random chance. So the book uses this to suggest that some greater intelligence has to be involved, which is a total rejection of the blind forces of evolution.
All right, so if history is just one big fabrication, the next logical question is, who's behind it all? And that brings us to Section 2, the hidden hand. This is where the source points the finger directly at a global network of secret societies.
Now, according to this book, Freemasonry isn't just some benevolent club like many people think. Nope. It's presented as this global secret order that just pretends to be Christian in Christian countries or Muslim in Muslim ones, all while secretly trying to control the world and worshiping its own god.
And the book points to all these key Masonic symbols. You've probably seen a bunch of these before, right? The all-seeing eye, the compass. But here's the twist. The source claims these aren't just symbols. It says they're actually magically charged to pump out negative, low frequencies and influence the world around us.
And this is where the claims get, well, really specific. The book describes the god that's supposedly worshipped only in the highest levels of the order. Get this. It's a being named Jabalan, with a spider's body and 3 heads, a cat, a toad, and a human. Just wow.
So how do they keep all this a secret? According to the book, it's all about the hierarchy. The argument is that the real purpose of the order is kept hidden from almost everyone in it. It's only when you get way up there to the highest levels that you're supposedly let in on the big secret. Freemasonry will eventually control the world.
Which naturally brings us to our next section, the New World Order. I mean, if the goal is to control the world, what does that grand plan actually look like? Let's dive in.
Okay, so the book lays out this whole multi-step strategy to bring about a new world order. It's kind of like a domino effect. Step 1, get total control of the money. Step 2, control the media. Then, you use that power to push out trashy entertainment and music. That supposedly makes it easier for Step 4, setting up totalitarian regimes. And the endgame? Turn the United Nations into a single totalitarian world government. And just to show you the scale of this alleged financial control, the source throws out this absolutely massive number, almost $6 trillion, and it claims that's roughly how much U.S. national debt has piled up since one very specific, very important year, 1963.
So why 1963? Well, here's where the book connects the dots. It claims that John F. Kennedy's assassination was direct payback for an executive order he signed, an order to issue interest-free silver certificates from the government, which would have seriously threatened the power of the private Federal Reserve.
All right, for our final section, a world built on lies, the source tries to bring all these huge abstract plans down to earth. It argues that this grand conspiracy isn't just theory. It affects our daily lives, in everything from the wars we fight to the water we drink. Take modern wars, for instance. The book makes the bold claim that the Vietnam War wasn't some mistake. It argues it was deliberately dragged out, that it was never meant to be won, all for the sake of geopolitical power and, of course, financial profit.
Then there's technology.
The author claims that amazing, world-changing inventions are systematically squashed to protect the profits of big industries. The prime example given is a car that runs on compressed air, and its inventor was supposedly threatened with murder to keep the oil money flowing.
The source also goes after public health institutions, making some really serious accusations. It claims that vaccines can be, and I'm quoting, totally ineffective, and that they're part of a much bigger deception.
And it doesn't stop there. The book also targets fluoride in our drinking water. It calls fluoride a dangerous toxin used to make the population more passive. The claim is that it actually impairs our ability to see connections and lowers the level of intelligence, and that the real health risks are being deliberately hidden from all of us.
But out of all these alleged deceptions, the financial schemes, the political plots, the public health lies, the author saves what they consider the most profound, the biggest one, for last. The ultimate lie, the book argues, wasn't physical, it was metaphysical.
So what was it? According to the book, it was getting people to laugh at the idea of reincarnation. By doing that, it claims the Freemasons made us forget that we're ultimately responsible for our actions, because we have to face them again and again. Pushing this "you only live once" idea was supposedly a deliberate strategy to make society more materialistic and, well, to let morals just fall apart.
And that, in a nutshell, is the worldview presented in Architects of Deception. It's a source that weaves this just immense tapestry of claims into one single massive story. And it really leaves you with a final, pretty provocative question to chew on. In a world where there are so many competing stories, how do we even begin to decide what's true?